As most of you would know, Costa is a new host of ABC's Gardening Australia, and anyone that's seen the program will know he's brought with him a strong sense of community whilst implementing sustainable thinking into the gardening process. Because of our fast-paced lifestyles, we often neglect these two key ingredients of a sustainable existence: local food production and building communities. Costa can help us to relearn these and teach them to others. His major theme in the program of Gardening Australia, On the Verge, is an excellent example of how we can utilise small areas in our neighbourhoods to make a big difference in food production and building community spirit. I'd like to now invite Costa to share his thoughts with us. Please welcome Costa.
I was kind of more comfortable up here, actually.
Feel free to go.
This kind of nice. I might move around because I think Adam said it's going to be interactive. So
we are recording this session too, so
I'll make it hell for the video man. You're like, oh, why are you shooting an empty chair? Oh, he's moved. Well, thanks Adam and JCU for the opportunity to come and visit again. I really take the opportunities to come back to places very seriously, because it is an opportunity to build on what I see in a place and to bring, for what it's worth, an outside perspective. Because what I've learnt in this new role, in this privileged role that I've had in getting involved with television and, for want of a better, without going down to the C word, the whole celebrity thing, but there's something about the privileged position of being able to come and observe something as an outsider, but to give that observation an honest and genuine opinion, which sometimes things are so good in a community that people closest to it don't appreciate it. And it happens everywhere I go. I was just in Hobart on the weekend and talking at a community garden down there, and there's the most amazing people within this community, but it kind of always works out, oh yeah, but that's just so-and-so that lives over the back fence. But I see them and I talk to them as, this is a living elder. This is a person that I look up to, and that the entire environmental movement would look up to. But in downtown, whatever, it's kind of like, oh, that's Joe so-and-so, and yeah, he just tends to rabbit on again and you can never shut him up. So, to come back again is wonderful, because it gives me an opportunity to see what's going on here at JCU, and I got to see some of these things as ideas that Adam enthusiastically shared with me, and all the people involved in the environmental group last year were talking about and selling on to you new students and saying, we're doing all these good things, and now I come back and these things are happening. They're in 3D reality. So it's not only a privilege to do it, but it's an obligation of mine to be able to observe these things and share them to help support and drive these initiatives further. So that's one of the big reasons why I jumped at the chance to squeeze a talk in today, because I came up for a, of course, what do you think I came up here? There's a compost convention. Microbes, an EM talk, I keep forgetting what EM, the word escapes me, but it's, what's that? Effective microorganisms, yeah. So I came for a conference on effective microorganisms. How good's that? Why wouldn't I be happy? And then Adam said, and I said, it's a fairly busy program. And I said, no. We'll find a time somewhere in the sort of little few hours that I'm here to come and have a chat. So thank you. Look at this. Wow, a full house. That's awesome. So yeah, the stuff that's going on here, the bioregen that you've installed in the canteen. I don't know if you've heard about that, but it's basically just like a big and you just put all the food waste in. I had to speak to some very serious soil, compost, microbe meisters. But at the end of the day, you've always got to bring it back to simple things. And yeah, courtesy of the university and the initiatives of the environmental group, you've got a mum machine in the university, and that's a big thing. But that's a really big thing, because what that's doing is taking all this food waste out of your waste stream, turning it into a resource, a valuable resource, which can then actually be sold by you as the university to the farmers who are providing you the food that becomes, and then basically you're just giving the bits that you leave out, the little final offcuts, you give it back to the farmers, and they put it back into the soil, which feeds the microorganisms, which creates and liberates the minerals, which goes into the food, which becomes us, because we're just walking, talking minerals, all different shapes of us, as you can see here. So to see an initiative like that pop up after a year, I mean, it's a big thing, because then you as students see that. I mean, you can bring your green waste in from home, just in a little bag, go in there and can you? Oh, okay. See, I have a responsibility to push things along. Yeah, it's going to happen. Oops. Be like, I can see them going for the fire bell. That's it. Clear it out. Go. And the assembly point is about 5k away. By the time we get back, it'll be all over. But putting one of those in a school is a wonderful opportunity to then be able, because I suppose thinking about it, you can't have, how many students in JCU? Yeah, so you can imagine 10,000 people walking into the kitchen. Hi. It's a nice idea, but basically, what I say is like you're making a big smoothie for the soil, So anyway, we'll get to the point where there'll be a mobile one of those going around, and you can just drop your waste in it. But at a school, and it's on, there's one at one of the little local schools, and it's got a funny name, something Park. Hermit Park, yeah. I drove past it yesterday. We were lost. I said, get to Hermit Park School. I thought, well, what's going to happen now? So anyway, what a great opportunity to build that connection, and this is what the title of the talk is about, like how you can build this sustainability thinking, but more so the action into your day-to-day. Local primary school, get the kids bringing the stuff in, they get the action of doing something like that, they understand the volume and they understand what that can mean. You can
into them from that age,
yeah,
all the way through.
That's it. I'll give you an example of something that happened the other day when I show you some slides in a minute, about how powerful our actions are. Everything we do, we're role models. Everything we say, and if it's in an educational context, every word I make, if we're trying to change thinking, we have to be wary of what we say. You want to change the thinking of rubbish, well, you have to eliminate the word rubbish, because rubbish is a thing that has a fixed definition. Whereas when you talk about waste, then waste has broad opportunity, and it's not a burden. Waste is part of nature, and when we think about it in those terms, then we come up with opportunities like giving our waste back to the farmers, and that becomes the opportunity to feed the feeders, which feed us. So I like it. Big picture stuff. For me at the moment, as Adam said, I've just taken on the role of host of Gardening Australia. That's a fairly big shift from what we were doing with Costa's Garden Odyssey. That was being produced as an independent production. Gardening Australia is produced within the ABC, so it's a bigger entity, involves a lot more people, involves a lot more management and relationship building. That's not a bad thing, it just takes a bit of time. It's a big ship. I've sort of surreptitiously commandoed to the bridge. They're like this. There's times when I'm like, whoa! You know, I can't stomach that one. Whoa! And then just hold on to the wheel, as long as you hang on to the wheel. No, look, it's a big opportunity. It's a huge opportunity, and it's a big platform to get all of these sorts of messages out there. That's why I'm still doing this stuff, like coming to really high-tech compost forums. Ooh, that wall. It's a better feel. Feel like, you know, you could throw things at me. No, I don't want to believe that. As long as it's green waste, I'll take it down to the bioregion and we'll reuse it. So apples are welcome. Yeah, it's a big opportunity. It's a big platform, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It's just going to take, like anything, take time. I've got to be patient. You know, if I had my way, I'd have the cameraman behind every step that I take, because the stuff that I'm doing today is really exciting. But I have to get that information out slowly, otherwise you're going to flood people. Like, you know, I go in there and I'm loving it, I'm just dribbling. You can't notice the dribbles. I recycle the dribbles. But, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I can't take, you know, EM, I can't take, tonight on Garden Australia, we're getting into EM. You know, they'll just go, oh, there were no viewers this week. You know, they all turned off after minute 2. But what my task is, and I think for all of us, is as we get to a different level, and this is what it's about, even for JCU, you're moving as a university, as an entity, you're moving in your consciousness. And it's the same when it comes to, if you want to call it gardening, if you want to call it environmental understanding, there's lots of baggage associated with words, you know. But let's just say, wherever you're at, it's about understanding where you're at and then taking it to the next step. And so one of my big roles is to make it understandable. So today I'm talking to a mixed group of people at the university. A couple of days ago, it was a community garden, different group again. Before that, it was a school. Before that, it was a kindergarten. It was year 6, it was year 1, it was year 9. Oh, year 9, they're a good challenge. I tell you, from the time they walk up and say, oh, blah, 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 half man, half hedge, put your hands together, you've got about 3 milliseconds to get their attention. Otherwise, it's all over. You know, they'll sort of be, I love, like some of the body language is fantastic. It'll be like this. You've got to get their attention. So believe me, it's a challenge. But that's what it's about, because ultimately what I want to do is really get these messages out there to the 0 to 40 bracket. So for me, it's just a never-ending challenge. I'll go and sit there in a conference full of people. You know, we were all subterranean there today, just building a matrix of microbe lovers. But I've got to take that information and make it funny, make it engaging, make it entertaining, and then stuff sticks. I'll give you an idea of what happened recently. When we set up the opener for the show, the producer, the executive producer said, okay, because there's so much jargon, it's like I hate jargon. Oh, there's a pen. Geez, they're a resource. Pens, they just come and go, I don't know. Every time I say in a motel, I always grab it by default, but then my bag eats them. I don't know where they go. Anyway, they said, okay, you can do your opener. So, in other words, you're taking on this new show, you've got 2 minutes to say what wakes you up in the morning, what makes you operate. Oh, 2 minutes, thanks. How do I speak for only 2 minutes? It's bloody impossible. So we sat there and we worked it out with my friend Sean, who's a producer, and we go, yeah, okay, well, let's... So we had to pick the locations. Imagine, you want to get a point across, because you can't just stand there and talk. Like, people will just be Sorry, this guy in there's one. I think he smelt that one. Anyway, we go, all right, we've got to pick locations. And so we went up to the Blue Mountains. I don't know if are you all from Sydney or from all... No, you're familiar with Sydney, I mean.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not that Sydney-centric. Are you all from Sydney? Yeah, imagine that. Anyway, we went up to the Blue Mountains because we wanted to make it got to make a quick statement. And so we put this thing together and we started there and we went to do the recce. On the day we went to do the recce, just to find the venues that we wanted for the sunrise, because you can't sort of work out where the sun's going to rise on the morning. Sort of, oops, missed it. So a pity. And so we had to do all this recce. The day we went for the recce, it was fogged in. I couldn't see you there. I was like, oh, that's a good start. So we're wandering around with compasses thinking, oh yeah, maybe here, maybe there. And we didn't have the sort of, so we had to go up for another day on our own time, just because we wanted to get it right. So we get up there. On the day, it was blowing about 100 knots. It was so windy, and the cameraman at 5:45 in the morning is hanging off Sublime Point, literally almost being blown away. But he got this amazing sunrise, which was the imagery we wanted, you know, to start. Because this is at the beginning of the first episode, so it's like before they even played a go. And I meant to bring it, but I played it.
It was very beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
It was really, it really set the tone for the show, I think. It was
Oh,
very,
that's nice to hear.
you did good.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, definitely. I was interested to see what you were doing because obviously it was setting up
Yeah.
your feeling.
Yeah, well, just to set up the picture. So we had, thank you, that's very kind. We had to set this up, and so anyway, then there's a shot of me over this waterfall, and I'm down the bottom getting totally soaked, and have to come up with this opener and get it right, and then we went through, and I sort of tell a bit about my story, and then you see me in a garden that was kind of like my grandfather's, just the imagery. And then we went to a permaculture garden because I wanted to talk about that. And then we went to my backyard and my local school, so I covered all these things. And then we went to my Verge, which is the project that I want to talk about today. But anyway, on this Verge project, we did no dig soil. So I'll go into that a bit more later. And one of my best mates who's the drummer in our band, and he's like just an absolute madman. Like he's the drummer in our band, but during the day he's like the top obstetric surgeon, one of the top obstetric surgeons in the country. It's unbelievable. Anyway, he rings me up and he says, oh, blah, 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 can you give me check with the ingredients for the no-dig? And so he goes off to his place and he's doing a no-dig garden. And he does it with his daughters. One's 8, 6, and then the youngest one's 4. He rings me up and he says, oh, he said, Kiara, the little one, he said, she was into me about, he says, no, Costa said you got to do this. He's going, I felt like you were there, whipping me. But the point he said, and I'll not forget this, these are the if you had to ask, and I've been asked a lot lately because we've done a lot of promotional work for the launch of the show, so I've been in TARDIS booths talking with Adelaide and Brisbane and Melbourne for whole days. It's kind of fairly bland in those little booths, and there's no oxygen, and you're talking to someone. And anyway, I've been asked every question you can imagine, and she said to him, they're working away, and she says, yeah. 4 years old, right? Just bear this in mind. And in the opener, I said, in the school part, I said, it's not only plants that grow in gardens, people do too, right? I said that. So she's heard it. She's come back to him when they're doing the no-dig garden, and if you want to talk to me about like that whole, the vocabulary and the responsibility and the role model and just what you say and how you say it in front of kids and their sponges, she turned to him after she'd been hammering him about the layering for not getting it right, and she said, and he said it was real, matter of fact, she said, 4 years old, she stood there, had her hands on her hips, and she said, you know what, Dad? We're not just growing plants. We're growing people. So, you think about that in terms of that's gone in, it's been processed, and it's really important when we talk to kids. Just how our comments and the words set up the future. That to me, you know, someone says, oh, you know, what gets you up in the morning? Well, that's sort of going to get me up for about probably 10 years, I reckon. 10 years of full and final payment, just that. And there's been lots of other little ones like that, you know, where people have, you know, written comments, and, you know, I'm not in there for the comments, but more for the fact that when people hear that and then it ripples out, that's the thing. So, by way of introduction, I thought I'd get into some slides now, just to talk about what I've been up to with this particular project. Because when it comes to implementing sustainability in our day-to-day lives, well, our day-to-day lives are where we live. So you've all heard oh yeah, that's nice. So I just have to click the thing and it'll turn around. Oops, hang on, it's going automatically, is it? Stop! Oh! God damn. Oh, you've seen it, it's been ruined. Oh my God, let me call my people. Oh, this is very new for me. I've just been given a whole brave new world of new telephony. But we won't go into that. You can ask me a question about that in private. So as an introduction, I think I would like, as a result of my experience in going up to Arnhem Land last year, I'd like to recognise the traditional custodians of the land. I apologise that I don't know the name, but I don't think that matters. Because it's more just about this recognition. And my experience to have a welcome made me understand just how incredibly connected and what that connection to land means. And when I talk about soil and microbes and earth and growing and local and all of that, it comes back to land. And I have a deeper appreciation of our Indigenous forefolk, and I respect that incredibly so now. The second thing I'd like to do is say that this year is the International Year of the Farmer. Now, you know, you hear regularly, oh, it's the year of, I don't know, the year of the table soccer specialist, and, you know, there's all these different ones, but this is a big one. This year's a big one. Because without our farmers, we're not here. And everything we're going to talk about in terms of sustainability, it's about emulating, learning from, working with, developing connections with our farmers. And this slide is a cracker. Sydney Easter Show, one of the things that I negotiated when we were talking with the ABC was I said, I want to do some specials. You know, I want to bust the mould a little bit. And so they agreed to 4 specials. And the first special we're doing, and that's coming up in week 10. So I think 4th week was this weekend just passed. So in 6 weeks' time. We just finished shooting it last week, so we're about almost 2 months in advance with the shooting. But we started it by saying, you know, this is the year of the farmer. What better place to start than where the country meets the city, at the Royal Easter Show. And so you all remember, I'm sure you've all been to the shows, what is it, the Ekka, and I don't know if they do that at the Ekka, but...
They don't quite have the same. I've been to quite a few shows around. Sydney Easter Show, once you've seen the agricultural displays there, you just go, wow. Right. And they just don't have it quite in other states.
All right, well, I won't play up on that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I didn't say that, all right? I didn't say that. But no, the reason I put this one up there is I just really loved the imagery there. Now, that's all of that, that's not a photo, right? That's been done out of wool. So all the shades and the tones, the shadows on the people and the jumpers, the darker jumpers, the lighter jumpers, the faces, that's all different grades of wool. The amount of work in them, and I should have put all of them on there because other ones have been done with wheat different grains and things. And like, and I mean, that's sort of something that we don't want to lose. Because now it'd be like, well, can't you Photoshop it? You know, just Photoshop it, don't. What do you do? Chase all those sheep to get the different colours. You know, that's the guy third from the right, that's his cheek colour. Get that one. You know? But anyway, the title, I struggle a little with that image on the top right, but anyway. Yeah, that's where I'll be focusing. Anyway, you know, the whole thing was the particular other bully's pavilion. Anyway, I won't get off on that tangent at this point, but if you push the buttons, I might start. So this was titled, "We Stand Behind Our Produce." I mean, I really like that. I think, you know, and then I'd go one step further and just put an image of all of us and say, well, we need to stand behind them. You know, we really do. We need to learn about the connections, and we need to reconnect, because I think what's happened with our industrial supply, our industrial food system, has dismantled the two-way street between farming and community. That's what's happened. It's basically said, okay, whereas before the community bought from the farmer, so they supported the farmer and the farmer supported the community. All of a sudden when it became an industrial thing, it said, well, okay, what's your name? Yeah, okay, Michelle. You know, Michelle's like, well, I'm not even going to sell here because I'm going to sell it somewhere else. So the connection was severed. And that is a really deep severance of our very core, because food is the most important thing. And when you think about the fact that there's more farmers than just general citizens on the planet, you know, our food system is not the correct food system when it comes to nurturing community. And that's why there's this incredible undercurrent. There's this yearning for people to rebuild community. And when you boil it down, when you put it in the grand sieve and shake it through, it's that sever of the connection between those people standing there and us. That's the one that's creating all the problems. So when I look at redeveloping or addressing sustainability, the most important thing is our food. There's nothing more important. I mean, you know, if we don't eat, we don't live. But then take it to that next level. If we eat food that's dumbing us down, well, then that ripples out across the whole community. And then we end up in this vortex of urgency. Everything's urgent. Oh my God, I'm working, I'm running, I'm busy, you're busy, I'm busy. Why are we busy? Where are we running? What can I consume next? Well, I'll consume something because that'll make me feel better, because my food isn't making me feel better. My food's actually making me sick. You know, farmers, farmer C, farmer CY, pharmacy. They should be growing and providing for us food that is our medicine. But when you put an industrial thinking on it, and it's not to say that the industrial system has done what it's meant to do. Create supply chains, make it efficient, make profit. It doesn't have community in it. It's actually recognised successful without that. They don't want you to feel obliged to sell to the people 5 kilometres down the road. They want to buy the lot off you and just tie you up and then screw you down and then kick you. You know? But that happens. Anyway, I won't go into that, but I know what's been going on. So that, you can't blame the system, because that's how the system operates. And so one of my biggest thoughts is, if we want to change the system, you don't change the system by standing in front of it. You get smashed. You just get thrown out. We have to look at alternative systems And the simplest and most personal, because it has to become that. It has to become personal. Our health is personal. We can't rely on government, local, state, federal, regional, whatever sub-branch of government or representation. We can't rely on it. We need to drive it, but we can't rely on it. The way we can get surety for our health is to drive the food system. And there's many alternative food systems popping up now, which is really exciting. So don't get me wrong, I'm not painting that as a room downer, but it's just a picture. Because the stuff that's coming up is the stuff that I really love, and I can see the uptake. People want this. People are excited about this. Gee, I don't know what the next slide's going to be. Do I push this one? Oh, yeah. What I wanted to tell you about this slide.
I think you got a slideshow now, so it's going to keep going.
Is it? Oh, hang on. Oh, stop. How do I stop? Will that stop it if I hit
Press
escape? Jeez. What will happen if it doesn't seem to be involved? Maybe I just click on it. Yeah, I just put this one in as a bit of a kick-off, because this is what we're talking about. If we're gonna look at alternative food systems, we've got to have a vision for it. Like, you can't just go, oh, I don't like it. Oh, the bully boys, they're providing us with food. I can make it as flowery as you want. I can say our food is dumbing us down. I can say our food is killing us. I can say whatever. Blah, 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 blah. But we have to come up and say, all right, well, I don't want that one. This is what I want. And the more certain we are on that, the more it'll happen. And the better food we eat, the clearer we get the vision, because the whole machine is working better. That's why I'm so into getting kids good food. Because they're the ones that can come up with comments like that. Say, we are growing people. She said that herself. It wasn't because I told her to. So yeah, what's your vision? And I like that little one. This is Chris Hyper. He was down in Tassie on Sunday, and he had that little poster. What's your vision today? Yeah, well, we all know today, because I've got to get stuff done. Tomorrow, yeah, well, it's going to come. Next year, we'll see what happens. Next generation, well, if I have kids, I'll find a girlfriend first. Next century, I won't be here, but I hope some structures that we all collectively create will drive it further. So yeah, but look at the size of all that. I mean, we need to sort of change some of those Helvetica, from bold there on the top to maybe a bit bolder and a slightly bigger font on next year, at least for starters. Okay, so when I chatted to the ABC, I said, look, if I want to get my ideas and my ethos out there, I said, this is how I want to do it. We created the idea of this project called On the Verge. Because I said, it's fine for me to come to JCU and go to Hobart and go to, I was in Felton outside of Toowoomba 2 weekends ago, and go around there and say, oh, what's your name? Wes, you got to, grow local, man. Just do it, and I've got to go and see you and say, you're... Rach, have you met Wes? You got to go there, and you got to grow local, and you got to do it. It's fine for me to do that, but I said, hang on. Talk the talk. What about if you walk the walk and do it in my own street, in front of my own house? And of course, when that first went out, what do you think? Some of the comments come back. Oh, why is it that all these presenters and hosts and TV people, they always do their own places up? So there's always an angle, and it was one of the first reviews, and it finished with, they all do their own place because, it's all about them, and, me. My bit of gardening advice to you is grow up. So I thought, you beauty, I'm out there. I've engaged with an audience and they're ripping in, so I'm happy. I don't care about that, because the project, as I'll explain, is just going gangbusters. That's my nature strip. Imagine this, that's in Bondi. It's about 4 metres wide. so it's pretty big. The first section is 25 metres long, so 100 square metres. Excuse me, go and find 100 square metres in Bondi. Then there's the next section further up, which is 13 metres times 4. So 100 plus or minus, because then if you say, I've also got this piece on this side, which is all full of that fishbone fern at the moment, but when that goes, that's another 1 metre wide. So there's over 150 square metres in Bondi. Like, that's unknown. But the best part about it, there's an equal amount on the other side of the road. But what I said was, this is it. This is the project. This is everything I want to talk about. All of the ethos that I want to cover can be covered in here. And they were like, oh yeah, but after 10 weeks it's might wear a bit. 10 weeks? What do you mean 10 weeks? 10 series. I'll be going on this because the plan is we're going to move down the street. Now, wear the witch's hat in the blue, see that blue tarp? That's the other beautiful thing about TV. It's like, oh, well, just get the compost and the manure and get it all there and be ready to go at 9 o'clock. Okay, yeah, but you can't dump it there because they want the before shots. So just have it there. Oh, where? Hello. So I've got to go down there to the neighbour and dump it down there, and all these little nuances of doing TV. Believe me, it's there's some funny parts of it. But this is going to run for as long. Like Peter Cundall had his patch, if you remember, and that was his patch from the 80s and 90s for that generation. This is the patch of this generation. Sorry. Yeah. This is the patch. Because the houses, the big grand Australian dream with a backyard and grass and a hills hoist and maybe a little vegetable patch, I mean, that's history, particularly around there. Every house is subdivided. There's the buildings are built right to the edges. People are yearning for some land. And there it is. Look at that. That's clear, open space, ready to go. So I look at that and I just go, what are we going to do with this? We're going to slowly move our way down the street. Right? Now, the most important part, and I'll say this, the most important part is you've got to go out and talk to people. Because the ones that you don't talk to will be the ones that come back and go, not grab, bite. I'll bite you. And it takes a bit of time. I was going down and knocking on the doors, and you can't just knock on the door. Hey, where's going, mate? I'm doing a community garden. Thanks, mate. Cheers. Like you've got to spend some time. So I was doing like 4 or 5 houses a night between 5 and 7, 8 o'clock. Takes a bit of time, but you got to put the yards in, and then you build that connection. And I got on board with the council, and the council have some guidelines, and they said, you've got to put in a bit of paperwork, a little plan. I did that. Then I went and spoke to the mayor. The mayor was funny. We went and saw him, a bit of a delegation, and the officers in council I know because I do all this sustainable school stuff with them. And I sat down with the mayor, and he was there. His desk was a lot bigger, and he was there, and I think I was back here. So I said, I've been around, I've spoken to everyone, and I said, everyone's up for it. And the mayor's over here. He got it on video, so I'm going to have to pay for it. Damn it, it wasn't me. So, I'll just reconnect that. So the mayor was sitting here. He says, Costa, who would say no to you? Damn it, So it was like, okay, he's all over me, he knows exactly. So anyway, you got to put the time in if you want to make one of these projects work. But believe me, as we go through this and I explain, it's one of the most amazing things that's transformed in 8 weeks. And I'll show you. So look at that. It's a sand dune, predominantly weed and nothingness, and it's screaming out for something to happen. So Anyway, the first step, like I say, went around, talked to everyone, and nothing happened. That's how it looks today. Oh, so the next step was, got the kids up. Oh. Got the kids up and, yeah, okay. Actually, if I push it from the other one, I think it'll hold there. And they painted a sign. So you gotta do like Buzz Aldrin and stick your flag in and say, this is what we're gonna do. Was it Buzz Aldrin? Was he the one who went out first? I don't know. And one of them, oh, it was Armstrong, yeah. So the kids painted up this sign, On the Verge Community Garden. And then we got everyone up there for the turning of the first sod. And I don't think you can see, oh, is he there? No, you can't see him. But Vic, the street elder, he's lived in the street for 90 years. He was the one that turned the first sod. I mean, he was there. His brother used to come down to his house on a horse and cart because he used to deliver cakes on a horse and cart around Bondi Junction and Bellevue Hill. I mean, that's good stuff. I like that. Okay, so that's the uphill side of the verge, okay? So you can see there's a big callistum in there, and then the back side is another 5 or 7 metres, and then a fairly main road. And so the way I've divided it was the top half is for all indigenous vegetation, native vegetation, but also endemic vegetation to Bondi. So here's the layers and layers. Like, oh, it's only going to make 10 EPS, but 10 EPS. Just let's talk about that. So we looked at the local vegetation. We went to the local council that grows the endemic vegetation, and he said, okay, use some of this. That was all sand dunes that used to roll into billabongs, and the billabongs were surrounded by tea trees, melaleucas, leptosperms, all these different things, and hakeas, spiky hakeas. And now, today, people go, oh, hakea, oh, it's spiky, can't put that in the garden, it hurts me. But hold the phone, why do you think it's spiky? It's spiky because it's a little bushy thing that the little birds can go in and can go to the big birds when they're chasing them. So we've got to understand these connections and explain it to the kids and say, this is what planting the local stuff's about. The kids get it. So that section's all going to be native, and it'll provide a screen sort of to the main road, okay? The section where I'm standing, the clothing, that was an issue. Look at those jeans, they had a problem. Anyway. So this section, because it's sloping, and so all the lessons, everything you want to talk about, you can talk about it on a verge like this. It's okay, that's sloping, it's got plenty of sun, ideal spot, bit Mediterranean, we'll grow a herb garden there. Okay? So that's a herb garden, and then the area further down. So this section here, so you can see there's the driveway where I was standing above that. This section here is the veggie, because it's nice, much flatter. And then the last section behind me where the camera was taken, we're going to make it a bit of a utility section and grow green manures and things for mulch and so on and so forth. So this was the kids all lining up on the first day, and I ran along and gave them all a high five, and it was a lot of fun. And I don't even think it made the cut. Can you just not stop the camera? Have we got a button here where I can maybe just stop the camera now and then? Okay, so then we got into it with the no-dig lasagna bed. And then you can talk about all those things. Nothing there cost us any money. Right? There's no big budget involved here. The grass clippings, free. I actually was standing there doing a piece to camera, and this guy, lawnmower guy, was driving up the street, and I was going, and the thing with the no-dig, hang on! And I went and stopped him at the tee and said, mate, can I have all that on the back? He said, yeah. I said, beauty. And so just think and it will be provided. That's that kind of, I don't mean that to sound esoteric or hippie, but it's true. When you want to think about something, like imagine this. I take Kinky, my chicken. I don't know if any of you have met her on TV yet. But anyway, I take her around with me to talk. So I would have brought her here, but I just thought 3.5 hours on the plane and she's down there underneath. A bit bit harsh on her just for my own kind of... I thought, no, I can't do that to her. But I take her to talks. She's unreal. If this was in Sydney, she'd just be tooling around there. I've got a pair of pants for her, so I can catch so I can catch the fertility. It's beautiful. No, it's true. It's true. Believe it or not, someone gave them to me, which was nice. But I was thinking, how can I get around? Because I was carrying her around in an old vacuum cleaner box, and I said, gee, I need one of those. Things you see at the airport, one of those. And I said, I'd like one, one of the bigger ones, 2 days later, I'm driving around up near Bondi Junction. Bing, there it is on a nature strip. Just there. I just went, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So the same with the leaves. Like the leaves I get from my local school. I speak with the general assistant. I just say, Yanni, I need a few buckets. He vacuums them all up. Brings them. Home delivery. For nothing. So we got leaves, newspapers, everyone bought their newspapers up, and we had a dead set riot of a time. It was so cool. And there was about 30 or 40 people came up. And you can see we're slowly making our way down there. And then we went, so the next step was, on top of that we put some cow manure, then we watered the manure in with molasses, because that helps feed the microbes, which is why I'm in Townsville, to talk microbes. I love that. Then we put lucerne on. So you put the lucerne on in the lower layers. That really attracts lots of, because it's green, it attracts a lot more fungi and bacteria to it, as opposed to dry straw, okay? So use the lucerne, and we went with layers. We did about 3 layers of lucerne, and then 2 layers of straw. So you can see it's slowly building up. Everyone was just having a great time. It was quite a hot day too, but didn't bother them. Oh, that was right at the end of the day.
Can I ask
So that ended up, about that deep.
Can I ask how much did the lucerne cost?
Oh,
Because it's not cheap, is it?
no, in Sydney, God, I was at Felton the other day and they were like $3 a bale. I was like, ooh.
It's $30 a bale, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, I might take 2 on carry-on. Pushing that into the overhead luggage. I would have loved it. Yeah, $3 or $4. And I was like, yeah, Sydney garden variety lucerne costs about $15.
Is there any other good substitute?
Well, the good substitute is just green waste. And don't be afraid of that. Use green waste. Use lawn clippings. Use cuttings off trees. Doesn't matter. They can be all down below. And just build it up. Okay?
Sugarcane mulch.
Sugarcane mulch, of course. You can use that in layers. Get the manure in there so that helps to get the whole thing rolling. Put the molasses in there because that activates the microbes. It's kind of like you're giving them a iced donut, a sugar. Because that's all it is, it's carbohydrate. And there's plenty of molasses up here. Okay, so yeah, look at that. And of course, we got about a week, the day after that, we got a complaint. Someone said, I've changed my mind. Costa's, who's given him the right to take over the street? It looks like a farmyard. Look at that. I don't think that looks like a farmyard, but anyway, each to their own. I had to manage that, okay? I had to manage that. I didn't get aggro. I just went. Read it. Each time I drive past, just keep the relationship, Because I knew once the veggies and all that are growing, it's going to look fantastic. Okay, yeah, I can see that. People go, but it's change management. People are dinosaurs. Slow to change. And then here was one of my greatest allies, the chickens, the girls. So I built this little chicken trap. And of course, you wouldn't believe, the week of the show going to where, of this episode going to, I thought I'll send out a little sneak preview photo. I said, my chicken trap for the girls. Oh, he gracious me. Someone says, oh, Costa, I didn't think you were like that. That's terrible, that's a prison, and I just... At that point, I think I went like this. Multiple breathing. I was circular breathing. I was coming in, I was coming out, I was going out that way. I Like I mean, I was staying very calm on that one. And I said, no. I said, just watch the episode. And then, of course, they sort of sent back, oh, I'm sorry about that, you know. Like, so what you mean? I said, I'm not putting them in there 24 hours. You know, and they're just in there during the day. They're working out there. They're having a ball. They go to a new patch and they just rip the grass up, eat all the seed, fertilise it. But you know the best part about it? The community building element of these guys is second to none. Have a look at this.
Yeah.
They are a kid magnet. With kids come parents, with parents come more parents, with parents comes communication. Oh, what number do you live? Number 1. Oh, I'm from 17. Nice to meet you. I've never seen you in 20 years. Oh, what number are you in? 17. I wish I was living in 17. It's all going on there. So yeah, look, that's what happened. And I mean, I'm not just making up stories here. This is what happened on my street. The kids loved it. Like, and then people actually would ask me. I remember one Sunday I was walking out. I've been down in Melbourne or something. And I sort of came out to get the bucket because people leave food for the chickens. So it's like my bioregion. They're my bioregion. I just get the bucket, I leave it out there, people put the food in. I came out one morning to get the food because I could hear the chickens and I thought it's Sunday, I didn't want them to make too much noise. And I came out and there was a guy walking past, he said, oh, where are the chickens today? You know, I've got some family coming over and I want to bring the kids up. I wasn't actually going to put them out that day. I'll have a day. I said, no worries, I'll put them out. So I put them out there and I left them out there and sure enough, their visitors came and, you know, they all, this sort of thing. So you know, chickens. Look at them.
That's the best idea.
So that-
That's the best idea.
So have a look at that. It's a classic. Gee, I haven't got a pointer. See, just up there. So yeah, all it is, it's an old desk from the school. It was going to be trashed. And then we put some rails on the bottom. And then see how we put the wheels, extend them past so that the whole thing sits flat. If you have the wheels on the legs, then it will be really unstable and you don't want any dogs or anything coming past to be able to get in. So do it like that. We put a 45 cut on there so when you lift it, it can actually lift up. See how there's a little 45-degree cut where the wheel is? And then on the other side's a door so that I can close them in. I've got the water hanging there, and then the other thing's just a grass catcher. And they go in there. And seriously, one day I was there, 3 of them were in the grass catcher, 3 eggs. They love it, you know, and like I just wheel it out, boom, 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 and then just move it along. And once they get a bit of sand, so all I'd do was just break one line and take the grass off so it was the sand, and then they'd just get into the side of it and just rip it up, and you know, they're masters. And that's using nature's services for free. It's not busting your back having to dig it out or anything. It's like the girls do it. So we planted a green manure crop in the section right down the bottom, and look at it. It was that was like 3 days. That's it popping up. You can see there's clover there. There's all sorts of other things. You can see the beans coming up. Then we planted the veggies. And see, with TV, there's no fun like for the kids because it's like, okay, can you plant that? Yep. All right, now take it out. Plant it again. Yeah, okay. And then the cameraman comes over here for a while. Can you plant it again? Can you take it out? So there's nothing exciting for the kids, and it's quite a management thing to we just got to do it in small bits so that they're having fun. But then what I do is on the weekend, I get them in on the weekend and we have a planting session and I take photos, and for any one of you who watched, we then put the photos in the chute. So we say, yeah, and then on the weekend, and that way the kids have a ball. We still get the images, but we don't have to have a camera crew there and absolutely bust the kids because it's no fun. You know, the plane goes over. Tonight on Gardening Australia, vroom, vroom. And then after you've done that like 4 or 5 times because the buses come and whatever, then I come out and I go, tonight on Gardening Australia. And they go, oh, can you be a bit more up? Tonight on Gardening Australia. And then they go, yep, tick, thank you. And you wouldn't realise that what should have taken 5 minutes took 55 minutes. And again, you go back there and start breathing. Okay. Put a hose with kids in a garden and everyone gets soaked, which is great fun. There they are planting away. What's the key? Can anyone think about what the key of this photo is? Let me see if it's clear from up the back here. What do you think the key in this photo is?
Is the lady talking to someone in the car driving past?
Beg your pardon?
She's talking to the car driving past.
Thank you. That is the key of this photo. From the time we've done it, because my garden's right on the corner, everyone has to drive past it. It's like this threshold. It's almost like one of those shoe cleaners that you have to... Everyone goes past it. And as it goes, everyone's stopping like that. Hi, how you going? What's that? Oh, I can't believe. Oh, look how much they've grown. Everyone's stopping. No, please stop. No, nothing. I've now got, like, there's kids that come home from school and they stop at the driveway. The kids get out, they do the little afternoon inspection and then they walk home. Like, that's the stuff. So then I'm going to be waking up for another 50 years because of that. That excites me so much. And there they are planting the lettuces. Oops. So this was the section on the hill. Okay, so this is the native section from the street looking back down. You can see the driveway where I was in the photo looking up from the driveway. I'll have to be clean. I'll come clean with you on this one. The native section I couldn't do because sometimes when the phone call comes through and they say, we're planting the natives tomorrow. I go, oh yeah, but the chickens are only sort of just chugging their way up. We're planting them tomorrow. I go, oh, okay. So guess what I had to do? So I had to dig it and I shaped it. So I've actually shaped it. It's a bit hard to see, but if you see on the top left where there's a scratch on the concrete about halfway up the slide, my mattock hit there. But see how there's a bit of a berm there, so the water off the footpath goes into this central part and helps hydrate it and then runs down the verge. So it's a little bit of key line. I don't know if anyone knows key line, but that's a system that was developed in the 50s by a genius farmer, and have a look it up. Percy Yeomans is awesome. But also a similar thinking along the lines of Peter Andrews, who says what we need to do is rehydrate the landscape. The way you rehydrate the landscape is to slow the water down. And it's basically, in a sense, it's a small swale, a very small swale, but it does the trick. Okay, so that's the herb garden. Paper on, manures, got the full lasagna method. Now look at that. This was kind of where I got to really engage with the crew over there. I said, look at that. Fungi growing after about 3 weeks. Like, that's incredibly powerful because we're talking about a sand soil, like pure sand. There was nothing in there. I would hold it up and go like this, and in 3 to 4 weeks, I had fungi growing. Look at all the bacteria, look at all the little spores and that in there. That is what it's about. That is transformation. That is building fertility. That fertility then transfers into the food, and that's the sponge. That's the water tank. The no-dig is the water tank. People go, oh, but how are you going to water it? Well, we're going to water it by building these layers, and then that's going to hold the water. And then these guys do all the work. Oh. I could look at that for ages. Look, different ones too. Totally different ones to the other ones. And they're just popping up. Look, and look, the veggies aren't that big, so to give you an idea, that was only about 3 weeks in. And we got this growing. And you can see also there, see there's a bit of wheat or barley or whatever from the straw. People go, oh, what are you going to do with that? That's a wheat. No, it's not. It's biomass. It's free. It's mulch. You can do one of two things. Snip it off at the ground level so that the roots stay in there to feed the microbes. Or if you're sort of a bit more anal and you can't deal with that because you might think, oh, but it'll grow if I don't pull it out. If you have to go the other way, just pull it out, lift the mulch up and put it under the mulch. And then there's free food, free nitrogen, bang. That's the cameraman and I. So here's the next point. I said to you that section was called the herb garden. Well, there's a few ways when we talk about dialogue and being change makers. The dialogue is where it sits. So I could have just said to all the people in the street, oh, well, these are the natives, this is the herbs, this is the veggies, this is the green manure. They might have gone, oh, what's green manure? But the herbs, But what I said was, this is a herb maze. Maze? Where's the maze? What's a herb maze? Where is it? People were asking. So it's the same plants in the same 5 by 4, 20 square metres, but I just said we're going to call it a herb maze and plant it like a maze. That idea just came. I don't know where, but thank you. No, not you, but thanks to whoever. Just gave me the idea, but it just came. I don't know. It just came to me as an idea to try and turn it on its head. So you can see we've set it out like this maze. Because of the order of shooting. Don't you love TV so bodgy? Because of the order of shooting, we were shooting this before we were shooting the native garden, but we were showing it the other way around, so the native garden wasn't in. So they're like, oh, what are you going to do? Why haven't you planted it before? Okay, put a few bales up there. And just hide it. No one ever knows. It's just classic. So here we are planting out the herb maze. Everyone got to plant. And then we started watering it. And so with the maze, all I did was just plant like this. So if we had a wider space, I wanted to do a maze where you could go in, like in that classic Doric design, where you go in, but then also come out. Whereas this way, because I didn't have the chance to come out, you just go into the centre, and then in the centre are all the low-growing herbs like the oregano and the thyme and all that. But on the outside, it's cool because you go up the street. So against the roadside, there's one little opening, right? And you go up this side and you've got lavender and pineapple sage. Then you go across the top and it's passion fruit daisy. And you know how strong that is. And when that's grown up and the kids are running through it, they're going to go unconscious with the aroma. Then you come down this side and you got the rosemary on the footpath side and tansy. And then you come here and you've got basil and yarrow, and then you come like this and you've got the backside of the pineapple sage and the curry plant, and then you go this side and you've got fennel and something else, and then you come this side and you've got the back side of this, and then you come again, and then bang, you're in the middle. Right? And you'll see a picture of that in a minute, so I don't know why I wasted all that time. I got into it. So here you can see, oh, that's the other thing. Imagine, oh, I love this bit. Imagine planting dandelion in a national gardening show. Hello, one of the most nutrient-dense medicinal plants, and it's been marginalised. So, not on the verge, it's not. It's in there. You can see it tucked away just above the watering can. But anyway, it's gone off. Yeah, I've got some. But yeah, you can imagine they'll be like, I'll put it in the maze. They've got to run the gauntlet of the nettles. You want to get to the centre? Come on. I'll show you. Yeah, I'm going to work on that one. Look at this. And all these other plants that we've put in there, like chicory. Bitter stuff. Get the stomach working properly. And look at it. It's just, and you can see the herb maze up there. Like, look, this is, and you saw what it was. It was just a wasteland. And it's growing. You know, the kale there was going really well. Chinese cabbage, lots of different lettuces. We planted lots of greens and easy things so that we could get that result. And people were stopping, cars were stopping, almost having accidents. No, people were overcome with accidental enthusiasm each time they drove down the corner, because these plants were just growing like nothing. And at some point I go, Costa, these are just sort of normal people that I haven't really had that much to do with. And they were literally getting out of the car going, this is fantastic, I can't believe how big it is. Like, it's only been 2 weeks and stuff. And like to harness that enthusiasm, this is what it was about. So we got to the point where recently we had our first harvest. And what my plan there was, got the kids up, we did the harvest and just took all the lower leaves off. And like, just by taking the lower leaves off all that, I ended up with 2 big laundry sinks full, right? And you looked at it, you barely even tell we'd taken any, right? And then we washed it, put it in one of those spinners. Kids wrote up brown paper bags with First Verge Harvest and drew things like, health and this and that, whatever they thought. And then we went around to all the elders and people in the street and gave them a bag, which was very cool. And that's doing a link there about something, I don't remember. And I put vetiver grass, that's vetiver grass along that edge, and that's going to grow up really thick. So that vetiver grass will grow like a wall just to keep the dogs and people from walking across it. And on the other side, I've put lemongrass on the street side, so that when you pull up, and I said this, I don't think I got to say it as a piece to camera. I wanted to, but it just didn't work out. But I said, imagine you've had a day full of road rage in Sydney, and you're sitting there as a passenger, and you're all pissed off about everything, and then you open the door, and it hits the lemongrass, and you step out, and it goes, oh. Wow, look at this garden, isn't it fantastic? Oh, look at this path, and I'll just follow this. Oh, that's comfrey along the edge of the path, that's nice. Oh, hi, how you doing? Yeah, how was your day? Oh, it was fine. No? So, yeah, malarkey anyway. Just don't mind me, I'm just getting off the topic. No, so so there's lemongrass on the roadside and vetiver grass down that side. And from that time, it's grown up a bit, but we're going into winter now, so it'll get better. Calendula, just happily growing in there as a mixed companion planting. Look at the lettuces. Oh, that's on the verge, right? And of course, one of the first things that people said, oops, sorry, Uni, I should stand on there. One of the first things that people said was, what's going to happen? People are going to vandalise it, or people are going to take it. And I was like, ooh, gee, it might be nice if some people take it, they get good food. Help them, But the point is, the locals have taken ownership of it. They're watching it like hawks, Costa, when can we harvest? The kids are like, when can we eat? Oh, just build the tension. No, not yet. Tomorrow, we'll see. All right, go and try some. And they're eating straight mustard leaf. Like enough to put hairs on your chest. They go, oh, that's nice. It's kind of hot. But that's the level. Like, you build that. They're connected with it. They planted it, and by God, they're excited about it. So yeah, look at that. Lettuce just there.
Hey Costa,
Yeah.
I noticed that you heard are in pots. Were the veggies planted from seed or from seed?
They were from little tiny seedlings, little sprigs.
But now you've got your virgin, you'll let it flower and you'll just shuffle those seeds, won't you? We know you will.
There's my seeds. But it was sort of, the other thing that we had to do was say, well, to get it up and get everyone excited, and also from a television point of view, if I'd have, not that it would have taken that much longer, granted, but to try and convince them, oh, look, I really want to do seeds. And there's the closing shot. And there's the opening shot. Like, unfortunately, but the beauty is, I've done all that malarkey now, so as we go down, I can do links where we go, okay, now this week, what's your name? Joyce at 48 is pumped up to do this little part of her verge. She wants to do snow peas. Here's the seeds. Let's pop them in and let's watch what happens. And then in 2 weeks' time, I can just do a link. Oh, coming up next is Jerry, but before we go up there to Brisbane, have a look at Joyce's snow peas. Bang. And so suddenly, those elements of the show become educational rather than coming up next week. So wood chip paths, we just use wood chip there. That can become a festival of mycelium, build a matrix of subterranean fungi that will bring moisture and bring nutrients and food to the plants. So we can then use that. After a while it'll break down, bring some more wood chip in. That way it satisfies the council's concern that you need 500 for the car door to open and a little bit of a path. And sort of where the newspaper begins, there's a path through the middle there so people can walk along. And it was really interesting. When I was in Tassie the other day, their council, because we were going to do this workshop and I was going to do a verge garden. And they said, oh, look, we can't do it because they sort of said, you know, this verge, it's only a small verge and then there's a street. And like the street was about as wide as from here to the back wall, right? And this was like being out the back of JCU here. There was no one. I could have set up my bed there. And they were saying, oh, well, what do we do about that, you know? Do we leave gaps or do we sort of just do a little bit and leave the space? I go, the little bit, you know, by the time you leave 500, you're going to have this much to plant. And I was thinking about it, and then I went off to, and what I did with this talk, I actually brought the group back, and it was about 40 people or something. We came back and I was just walking the street, sort of doing what I do, telling them how I see the landscape, and I said, look at this, you know, how are we going to solve this problem? And it came to me, I thought, what the hell? How wide is this stupid street? Just put a line, you know, on roads, main roads, where they want to sort of funnel it into one lane, and then they do those snaky things where they have the right-hand turn, and so they put that white line there. Well, put a line there, and that's where you park. And then there's your 500 for your footpath, and so people can then walk up like that. You know, if you have to, get a little thing and put the footsteps there in case, you know, you've got to tell people, like, walk that way. And then no engineering required, just a line on the road. You would still have a lane to go this way, a lane to go that way, parking this side and parking that side, but you just bring it in. So that's the thinking. There's so many opportunities. So in this case, we gave the council what they wanted. And look at the dandelions now. Look how big they are. And they taste the treat. They taste the treat.
Where did you get them?
Just from in a seedling. Yeah, from this nursery that I use. They do good stuff. That was the green manure. I forgot to get a shot before they got stuck into it. It's a real bummer. So go, oh, that was kind of what the green manure used to look like. But the boys ripped into it with their cutters and... oh, they loved it. When I do it at schools, I just get them with scissors. Get the kids with scissors. And I say, you know, just snip it real small. And, you know, if you've got a class of 25, now I can go across the campus. They're like wasps. They sound like wasps. And they love it. Oh, we're allowed to use the scissors, you know. And I give them sharp ones, you know. Most scissors, you know, in a school, you could... You know, they're classic. So anyway, the kids love that. The boys ripped in there and they got that done. Okay, so now you can see the herb maze. So what I did was I just put wood chip to delineate the path, and you can see what it looks like. And I mean, that's so simple. The kids did it. The kids, you know, they thought it was really cool. Okay, make it straight. You know, oh, don't get it too wide. Well, they thought it was cool. And so that's the garden sort of out of my room. And since then, we set up our first satellite verge. We're conquering the street. And this is right at the end of the street, right? I mean, right at the very... I'm right at the top and this is at the very end. And that's a laneway that runs between the streets, and the street goes off to the right here. And I had to... it was unbelievable. The day we did it, it was a Saturday, and it was so busy, and we're trying to shoot, and there was prams and people and prams. So I had to pour a little bit of concrete there so that the prams could come around, and I did it the day after, and I said, I have to go now, and I don't know what may happen to that concrete. So the girls all wrote their names in it. It's very cool. It's very cool. It's a bit hard to see, but yeah. So we've done this, and because their courtyard, and this is what I meant about, you know, how to use it to cover topics, because then the next topic that's coming up in a few weeks later will be, we're doing an episode on shade and light, and their courtyard for these families is on the back. So they don't have much light. And he's been trying to grow passion fruit for 8 years, never grown them. But now he's got 2 passion fruit on the front fence, which faces west. It's a nice microclimate to be able to grow passion fruit there. And the, beg your pardon?
That's a robinia.
Yeah, that's a robinia, yeah. And look at that, like, the amazing thing about this, and I put midgeon berries along the front as a little hedge, which is a little native berry that you've probably heard of. And then there's lemongrass along this side, so when they walk up to their front gate, they can brush up against that. And there's a little dog repellent thing here on the corner, so it'll grow up and stink. Yeah, so we put lots of things in there. The kids said, oh, we want a money tree. And then one of them said, I want a lolly tree. So I got some, what's that sweet leaf? Stevia, yeah, got stevia. And I think we got it on film, you know, the kids trying, they go, oh, that's sweet. I go, yeah, it's your lolly tree. So that's the first verge. Then what we're going to do is, as the series goes on, we're going to colonise the alleyways and develop the alleyways and make our way to the school, because I work with the kids at the school, and so we can do stuff with the school. But coming back down the street, we've got people on board, and just push pause there, please. What we're going to do, there's a section where, you know, I want to do an orchard, which is a real flat area, and it's open and there's nothing going on. I want to grow a couple of verges just with wheat, so that the kids we can grow the wheat, the kids can see the wheat grown, we can dry it, they can shake it, we can harvest it, then we can mill it, the little mill. You can buy these little stone mills, mill the wheat, and then I'm getting a guy to spin us a tandoor pot that I'm going to, oven, right? And I'm going to put it on wheels so we can move it up and down the street. And then we'll say, right, we're going to have a feast, you know, a party, you know, it's pizza night. And he puts a plate on there with a lid. We can make the wheat, use the wheat to make the pizza. And then we'll say, right, you know, what's your name? Yeah, Gavin, go to number 16 because there's some silver beet there. And go to number 7 because at the bottom of the hill I want to make, because that's where the footpath comes down and it gets very wet there. We're going to make that a mint garden. Just plant peppermint, spearmint, like every mint. So you go there, get some mint. You know, we can just, so you're utilising all these garden or all these environmental things, but applying them to a streetscape. And the oven will just go up and down, like in the mornings, you know, we'll get eggs and have eggs and put them in a bit of a naan bread. And the kids can take that off to school and eat it on the way to school. So yeah, talk to me how many series I'll be going. 2000 and whatever. But yeah, so this is the beginning, because that's kind of locked the end of the street in, and then we're going to fill just make our way back. And look, some people don't want to do it, that's fine. If they don't want to do it, I don't have a problem. If you want to have Mariah. All due respect to Mariah, but if I see another Mariah Hedge, it won't be a day too late. And so here's the kids. The other day we were doing a bit of harvesting, and they're eating snow peas there. We've been smashed in Sydney. I mean, you've had a bit of rain up here, but we got a lot of rain and didn't do wonders for the snow peas, but we still had a few there and they were eating them. And that was just some of the harvest that they took home. And yeah, this is another story. I probably won't go into that, but just very quickly, I did a resource recovery program at the local school. So if you're going to talk to kids about changing rubbish and thinking about rubbish, we've got to eliminate the word. So our school doesn't use the word rubbish, it's waste. And then the bins are all there in the 4 bins are there like the council provide, and that's called a resource recovery station. But to get the kids up to speed with it, I got the bins, and that was one day's rubbish that I poured out in front of them. And I did 4 or 5 waste assemblies. So kindies, KM1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5 and 6. And I did this 4 or 5 times over. And I got dressed up, you can see me as a miner, right? I said, I'm urban miner, because I'm mining the garbage, because there's resources in there. But you've got to get the kids' attention, you know, and they got into it. And so we did that, and have a look at this. So that's all the rubbish that was in there. And like, imagine doing that, and the kids are there, and they're not expecting it. I go, oh, let's have a little look in here. And I just got these bins, and I went bang, and tipped them up. There was apples rolling, there was stuff. The kids were going, oh, that stinks. And, you know, and it was really powerful, you know. Like, there I am, they're just, you know, with a slightly older group. And so anyway, I said to them, I said, oh, who's responsible for this? And they said, we are. And I said, who can change it? And they said, we can. I said, all right, fantastic. And I got some chalk and I drew on the ground. I said, as of today, I said, you people will be remembered as the ones that changed how we look at waste in the school. 2011, you guys, class of 2011, you're responsible. The kids were like, yeah. And anyway, they got right into it. And then over lunchtime, we separated that waste. So this is one day's waste at one primary school in the country. So tell me about how many primary schools there are in the country. 5,000, 6,000, something like that, maybe more. Have a look at this. Due to a lack of touch panel activity, the audio-visual equipment in this room is going to explode in 45 seconds. Unless you touch the screen now! I saved you, you owe me. Oh my God, that's scary. Who's watching us? Is the Vice Chancellor here? So anyway, we separated all the waste. I'm not going to say too much now, just have a look at this. And we separated and then we audited it. We wrote down everything in all the different categories. Look at that, one day. Just under 500, right? Paper, foil, coffee cups, zip tie bags, the teachers. Oh, the kindies are really into their lattes. we got a machine there next to the jumping castle. You know, I'll have a double shot macchiato. They're unbelievable, the kindies these days. Oh, nice. Plastic bags. Oh, bloody warnings here. Food. Look at the food. Paper. Look at all those. Forks. Think about the energy to make those. And they go in and out once or twice and look in the bin. Look at all that. 15 kilos in one day.
Every mother that's gone to shop, maybe spent all that time. I make my kids bring it all back, we compost it.
What about the farmers? Think about the energy that's gone into making all that food. It's amazing, right? Look at all that. One day. And then this was one I said to the kids, I said, look at some of those apples. I laughed about this. I said, imagine, look at that big green apple there, right? Second from the right on the bottom. Like, imagine giving that to a kindy kid. That would be like, what's your name? Stephen. That would be like me giving Stephen an apple about this big. I say, mate, enjoy your morning tea. And what do you think he's going to do? He's going to get one tooth into it, just there on the left at about 7 o'clock, and go, bink. And I said to the kids, look at this. I mean, I love these mandarins. It's like, it's the end of recess. I didn't even get to eating it, for God's sake, you know? Give a kid that. This is a primary school, for God's sake. Right? And I said to the kids, how could we change this? Look at all the apples. 1/3, 1/2, 3/4 barely eaten. Look at this, the one in between the two green ones in the middle. I'll just eat around the middle and that'll do. And I said, how could you change this? And they said, tell Mum or Dad just to give me a quarter. We didn't need a royal commission into that. And the kids have the answer. I love that. So anyway, look at all the Gladra. And if you've done any reading of late, the stuff that comes off that, and we're putting it right on the food. Like that's, bleh. I won't go into that. Foil. Do you know you can roll that foil up at home? So if you put that in loose in your recycle bin, it becomes a nightmare for the recyclers. But what you do, make a ball and just keep adding to the ball. And then put the big ball, you know, say about the size of one of Stephen's apples, no. You know, about that big, put that in the recycle. And then it can go into the machine. Simple thing, but yeah, so that's a day's waste. So it's great to make it visual, and I put that's right in front of the hall. So all the parents came in after school. They said, "Oh, what's this artwork?" I said, "I'm glad you asked. Guess what?" So yeah, it was really good. It was a really good exercise, and we're changing the way it's and we're having, you know, nude food days and all that kind of stuff. Should be nude food day every day, really. But you got to start slowly with this stuff. Oops. I suppose I should start to wrap up. And look, are there any questions on any of that? Like, I just love it. I just think it's, and I hope you can sort of imagine that is so totally achievable, because I just did it. And I didn't do it just because I'm on TV or something. Believe me, it means nothing. I had to go through the processes. I had to take the steps. I had to get the council on board. You've got to do that stuff. You've got to get your neighbours on board. They're the ones that, and you've got to put in the yards. And if you put in the yards, it'll be successful and you'll get the engagement, and then it'll change.
Does the school have a garden?
Yeah, we're working. I mean, I've been working on the school for 6, 7, 8 years. I'm president of the school council. And it's always funny because people go, "Oh, do you have any kids here?" I go, "No." "But what are you doing here then?" I go, "Oh, just supporting my local school." "Oh." I said, "I like to put something back." I went to that school. I got fond memories of the school, and it's nice. It's in a professional, well, not in my skilled capacity to be able to facilitate change. And we just had, just 3-4 days ago, and I've been working on this for like 5.5 years, right? So you've got to be patient on this community stuff. Not to say you'd be so patient that you grow a beard or something, but you've got to be patient enough that you keep that vision and you get there. And I've been waiting for this demountable to go because the department wouldn't let us do anything with this demountable. And I said, "Well, let's get rid of it." We've been waiting. We've done this new play area and it's in the right space. But this demountable's gone, so we're about to build, you know, as part of our vision, an outdoor classroom with the garden beds and the chickens and all that. But, you know, sometimes people, like, they're too impatient and they want it to happen overnight. But with that stuff and with departments, you just got to, and tick the boxes, like just cross your T's and dot your I's, particularly community-wise, and then everyone will be involved and you'll get the support. If you try and cut a corner, it'll always be the corner that you cut that'll be the one that comes back and gets you. So we had to go to the council. We had to do that stuff. And if anything, doing it for a TV show made it even more, like, I couldn't guerrilla, if you know what I mean. You can go out and guerrilla and, you know, beg for forgiveness, right? But I can't go and beg for forgiveness on TV. But the beauty of what I'm doing on TV is, you know, just getting that chicken tractor agreed to means that the door's ajar. So when I don't know, who's your local council? Is it just one? Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, I think I saw him. I saw the mayor today at the thing. I should have spoken to him. No, but the thing is, me doing that in the second most populous municipal area in the country, if you ask to put a chicken tractor in front of your place and they have a problem, well, all I want to do is set a precedent. And that's the power of, you know, if my slipper's in the door, come through.
Costa did it.
Yeah, exactly. And call up, I'll jump on board, because that's what it's about, you know. It's just getting those precedents, and then there's precedents that you're setting here that I can take with me and use at my local uni and use at my local school and say, you know, look at what these guys are doing. So it's an incredibly symbiotic relationship, and that's why I love to be able to come back, and that's why I was so excited, because whatever you're doing here, I'm, you know, not in a greedy way, but in a really beneficial way, I can take it with me and push it and sell it, and, you know, and I hope that, you know, the stuff that I've just talked about can sort of help you, because that space, no, you guys,
There's a place I love going to school and I'll never get them.
yeah, they're going to lock the doors in a minute. We'll all be here all night with me.
Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, those benefits of, and look, not everyone needs a big verge like that, right? I'm doing it as a demo and a model to inspire the street. But, you know, think about, so what I want you to take home tonight is just look at your streets differently. There's land there. And, you know, if you've got a backyard that's not working, have a look at the verge. If there's not a verge, look at your neighbours. They might have a front yard that they want to do something with. You know, you might have a big yard and you don't want to develop it all, but, you know, you're living next door and you just say, well, look, I'll grow some stuff, and you just pick what you want, you know. So there's lots of models. The other models that I recommend you look into are things like church grounds, services grounds. You know, there's power stations, you know, different fire stations and police stations, and, you know, like, why can't you make a community garden in front of the police station? I reckon that'd be cool. Like a bad one. So, yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah, just sort of like, what's this plan? Oh, it's all right. It's Costa said that it's an Indonesian tea. It's an Indonesian tea plant. It's cool. It's natural. You know, like bamboo. I was yesterday I was up at Villa Kundalini up the road here, and just learning about the importance of bamboo. Like this shirt of mine is made out of bamboo, but bamboo, just think, bamboo grows in 6 years. 6 years. And we've got this paranoia about bamboo and hemp. And we're going, oh, we're going to solve all the sequestration problems by planting hardwood. I mean, please. We'll do better by doing verge gardens like that. We'll sequester more out of a verge than we will out of a tree that's going to take 150 years to grow. Whereas bamboo, you could literally specify, but by the time you get it through council, it's going to take 5 years. You can actually say, okay, can you please grow me all the timber I need, all the structural timber I need for my house? Because by the time I get the DA approved, it'll be ready. Like, how good's that? I was really, you know, to see the project that the guys are doing up there was just amazing. And then, you know, clothing. You know, bamboo. What do you mean? There's no pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, there's no nothing in that. I'm wearing a clean shirt. Cotton, on the other hand, ooh, thank you, please. That is just a fungal nightmare. And then we put it on our bodies. I mean, so yeah. Look, the verge idea is something that's underway. I'm going to be doing lots more with it over the course of this year. We've got 35 episodes. We need to play.
So you go to school and teach children, rightly so, the next generation. Have you given up on the over 50s?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. I just reckon, sorry.
Today, people's health are going down to the toilet, literally, because their food is not food. 3/4 of your food is in the supermarket, it's not food. So people are actually starving themselves because there's no nutrition. And you definitely see that in, you know, the plus 50s. This is when all the health problems are coming through. And if you see, if anybody's working in the elderly industry, you realise what they eat.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's a real big scope for all the baby boomers, lots of them. They've got money, they've got time on their hands. This is also a niche.
Yeah. Oh, it's huge. It's huge. I mean, the other areas that I want to go, like verges, you know, connect it to the local business community, to get the resources out to utilise to build soil, connect it to the local nursing home, have people come and work and walk, and, you know, people can push the residents through, and they can come and do some work, build gardens on their streets as well. So yeah, it's that's endless. That's a model. That's a model in a street. So, take over every footpath. Don't worry, that's the plan. And I sort of got the idea of setting up a kind of like a you know, not a challenge. It doesn't have to be that, but just register your verge and just let's get to 500,000 or something and just keep going and just verge. Just like we've got farmland, I'm going to create a term called verge land. You know, you're a verger. You're a verger. Get verged. Come and verge you. And you know, if you're a virgin, well, make a verge garden for you.
How would you maintain that? How would you protect against pests and things like that?
Okay, well the key is building the soil. At the end of the day, the first step you want to do is grow soil. Because if you grow soil, then at the end of the day, if you grow the soil, these guys here, they know what to do. Half the time the problem is us getting in their way. The residues we've left, the conditions we create, and then the seeds go, oh, and they come up and they're sort of like, well, geez. And then they come, you know, and then someone comes by and sprays for weeds and it's like this, and we go, oh, we better feed it some nitrogen. So it goes like that and it's full of sugar. And then the insects go, oh, I can smell sugar. And they come and then we go, oh, we better spray the insects, and the plant goes down and give it some nitrogen and the sugar comes out. It's kind of doing like this, and you wonder why the produce is what it is. It's got nothing. So the big step is make it. That was just, grow the soil and get the minerals into the soil, build that lasagna with as much quality as you can, get your rock dusts in there, get your manures in there, acquire this stuff, make it a community-based effort, go out to a farm, collect poo, have a poo fest, you know, get a trailer and go around and drive around and get a few people together and say, well, let's go and collect some
You don't
poo.
even have to go far in council, we've got Wallaroo.
Yeah.
It's behind the horse station, the
Yeah.
what do you call that? Where the horse, where the horses go round.
Oh, the racetrack. Yeah, with your horse poo though, make sure with your horse poo you compost it though, because that's got some fairly solid, powerful sort of medication in it. Chicken and horse poo. They're, you know, sorry, chicken. What did I say? Did I say horse? Yeah, chicken and cow. I mean, chicken and cow. Horse you can get, but just compost it first, because that they don't actually. All that the horse's gut does is marinate the seeds, and then it comes out and it'll grow. So whatever the horse has been eating, you'll have it. Cows break it down and ruminate it, and it gets a totally different. It's broken down. They won't get the same problem from cow poo.
Can I ask about the councils, because I'm a garden designer, a landscaper, and the council here in council, you always have to allow for the postie to go through, so you're not actually allowed to use the verge.
Yeah.
You know, you're not allowed to gravel the lawn. Oh yeah, exactly, it's the legalities.
And it's interesting because in fact they don't build footpaths in town. We don't get footpaths because I'm on the corner and I had an epiphany at the beginning of the year.
I love epiphanies.
You know, what am I knowing this for? In fact, what am I paying someone tomorrow for? This is ridiculous. It's the best growing spot ever. So I told my daughter I was going to have a verge garden, and then I saw the first episode about a month later and thought, right, this is obviously what's happening.
I've just realised that I'll have to make the most of these sort of speaking invitations, because I can't imagine myself being invited to the next local government council conference. Everyone's up and up, but no, that's the way you got to do it. You just, because a lot of councils either have just guidelines or they're working on policies. And the best thing, the thing you've got to remember with councils is councils, they are there, they're put there by us, but you have to remember that they're just going along and they're responding to the negative, right? Someone said a really interesting thing. Russ Grayson, who's one of the heads of the community garden network around the country, he said an interesting thing. He read all these posts that came up after the first episode of the show on the GA website. They said, what do you think of the host? So I mean, that's a free-for-all. So of course, there's people that don't like my style, and people that don't like me, and there's conservative element, they're like, well, what's happened with the show? So anyone can say what they like. But he said, look, having worked in local government for 25 years, we respond every Monday morning to a list of complaints. So policy is directed by negative feedback because those people either don't have a lot to do or they have a chip on their shoulder and they want to beef it. So they respond, and the council have to respond to it. And because you don't need a lot, but that drives the policy. So how do we change the policy? We've got to get up. We've got to get up, and we've got to, thanks for coming. We've got to get up. Oh no, yeah. 30 seconds and then I think this door's locked. Now we've got to get up and make comment. So if you want Verge Gardens, right, speak to your ward member, speak to your local member, speak to the mayor and say, we're starting a people's revolution here because we want it. And it's happening here. And as soon as they see that it's happening here, get on the website and get the guidelines off Waverley Council, off Sydney City. Sydney City's really got a good initiative with it. They're writing policy as a result of guidelines. And get it up there, get it on the agenda and say, we want you to start to write guidelines so we can contribute, and then you will be able to utilise that land. But you have to, like, it won't happen. It'll be stalled by those that don't want it.
The attitude here a few years ago from someone in the council in positions was that community gardens are more trouble than they were.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, what hope have we got if that's the attitude?
But if,
there is.
you know, you could get 20, 30 people here tonight that would support that. You put that in, that rattles the council. Because they go, oh geez, we got 20 letters. 20 letters, how long does it take? Just 5 minutes on the email and say, I would like the council to establish some guidelines because I want to set up a Verge garden. Oh, you can't do it.
Join the permaculture group.
Well, that's it.
We can.
And
then
that's-
you have lots down the community garden, you can have one of your own.
Yeah, so the local
Just like that, I had come over for the first time the other
Yeah,
day.
there's plenty
And
around
she
there.
said, oh, I was a bit scared to come over because it's so overgrown. And I said, oh, well, it's because it's food. She said, oh, it's just like really like overgrown. I said, come and have a look. And I showed her like the cassava that's growing. I said, this is like a root vegetable. It makes lovely screens, they're on the corner. You know, and I said, arrowroot. I said, look what it does. Like, this is it. I said, down there, that's all sweet potatoes. And all this is like fence. I don't even water it. It does its own thing. And she's like, oh, it's all food. Like, really? And I said, it does its own thing. Lights up. And she's like, oh, cool. Oh, I need some of that. Poor lady across the road, and she had to extend her fence because of her dog. Well, you can do other things.
Yeah. So groups like the permaculture group, you know, you can generate activity, and you'll generate change, and you'll be the change makers, and you know, use that what I just showed you as an agent of change, and drive it, and you can do it. I have 150% certainty that you can do it, because it's only being held there by a negative figure. And if we want to address the whole concept of sustainability and change, we have to make those steps. And once you do, things dissolve. Because by taking that lady in there, she will now be an agent of change, as opposed to be an agent of fear. Because they're going, oh, you know, you must watch that show with the hedge. The talking hedge. Like Mr. Ed. No, so yeah, look, that's the bit that excites me the most, because you got to, it's not just going to happen, like, no matter how nice you sit there and wish.
Well, I was just going to do it anyway, but they've done nothing with this whole little ever, they couldn't even give me a footpath, so bugger on was going to do it.
Well, I think, look, there's some place for that.
Well, I was sort of good.
There's some place for that, but I think in terms of really utilising your groups, you got to put it up. And now with that as a kind of slightly more public model
That's why I
of
was
it,
so excited to
and
see it, because it's like, okay, this is national now, this idea is national.
it's gone. It's gone. You can't bring it back.
We did it down in Tamworth, and
Yeah.
I didn't realise there was a name for it, and there was council rules or anything. But we're in a really not very nice area, so we just ran in there. The pool guys dumped all this dirt for us, like the pool companies, free dirt, bring it on. And we did that, and the postie, we made a nice little path for the postie. It was a feral area, really. And all the kids would come and eat my food. I didn't know, like, till now, there's a name and there's a rule. No idea. No one ever did anything. It was constant police, like in flak jackets.
Isn't that
Yeah,
the
it
town
was
of
a really
Nobles?
feral area. But nobody did anything. Nobody, and all the kids would come and eat. The older people would come and check me out because I was the crazy hay lady because I had a hay everywhere. And now I'm doing it again where I am, and I was just about to, because I live on a corner, too much mowing. I was just about to do it. Now I know there's rules, and now I'm going to get in trouble.
No, you're a precedent maker, and that's good because the garden changes the energy of the place. Changes the energy of the place.
I've already got people looking at me strangely because I've got a whole yard of hay.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Do you just smile at me?
Please tell.
I say, try my curry leaf, it's really good. Put this in your cooking and it calms them down.
Yeah.
When you put the molasses on, did you dilute that or you just put it on?
Yeah, dilute 2 tablespoons into a 10 litre, 9 litre watering can. That's enough. And if it's 2.5 or 3, it's not going to. 2's enough.
It's all right on 80% as well, or?
Well, I didn't pour it. I don't put the molasses on the saplings. I put it on the manures and down in the lower levels because that's where the microbes are. On the top, you know, you put your seaweed or your fish and mushroom or whatever, because then that feeds a different layer of biological activity. Down below, it's the microbes. Further up, it's the fungi, and they'll thrive on the seaweed or fish. So you can do both. But lower down molasses.
Okay.
Up top, don't need molasses.
And per metre, like do you put X amount or just?
Oh, you know, you just water it on until it's wet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really scientific. Because it's water it on until it's wet. You can see my mate's little daughter saying, "No, it's not wet enough." So yeah, look, I could sort of go on, but I think the union has to close. Oh, last one.
What do you think about the ink or the newspaper?
Yeah, good question. I've been asked that. I don't use any of the red, the coloured glossy ones. I just use the normal paper. Someone's asked me about that, and it's been sent in to the questions on the website. I need to do a bit of research. If anyone knows of any. I thought that's what it was, that it was soy-based. I don't know about the glossy paper ones, but the normal brown normal paper newspapers. The normal paper newspapers, I think are okay, but.
Is it that necessary to have the newspaper layer?
You can use cardboard. You can use cardboard boxes. They'll do the same thing. The idea with that is, because it's no dig, it means you're not touching the ground. So you don't have to turn it over. So you just put the newspaper down, and that will create a layer between the existing grass and the seeds that are latent in that grass and where your next layers come up. And so that will rot those seeds and rot the grass, and they won't be a problem because they'll never see the sunlight underneath that much. So that's the idea.
And if you want cardboard, there's about 15 tonnes that goes out of JCU in a couple of weeks. So, do some guerrilla work on the cardboard bins around here.
Yeah, think about, so if you can take 2 things away from today. Look at your streets differently. There's a lot of space there. Also, look at the resources that are around you. They're constantly available for nothing. Leaves, grass, cardboard, newspaper. It's out there. It's just a case of just shifting the perspective a little and you'll be amazed. And if you put it out there, you say, yeah, where can I get that? Bang. Adam pops up and says, yep, there's your cardboard supply for life. Leon might take a little bit and carry on again. Trying to push that into the overhead baggage. I love it.
All right, well, we could go on all night, obviously, but we do have to finish up. And I'd like everyone to put their hands together for Costa. Thank you very much for coming, and I hope you can take some of the infectious enthusiasm home.